Okay, the other big story this evening in what is being seen as a clear impact of the ARP effect in Maharashtra. The state government has slashed power tariff for industrial users across the state by 20%. Of course, tariffs in Mumbai haven't quite been cut just yet. Vijay Ganesh Nair joins in with more details on the impact of this move. Vijay?
Clearly, the ARP effect of Delhi is now caught up with the Maharashtra government, which has taken a decision today to slash power tariffs by 20% of Mahavitran, the state undertaking which supplies powers and distribution across the state. So this 20% cut would be applicable for all industrial, agricultural and retail consumers coming under the Mahavitran in the state. But clearly Mumbai consumers have been left out. The reason being, Mumbai primarily gets the supplies from two private companies, Tata Power and Reliance Power, and as the government says, they will have to take a call since the power tariffs of these private companies are decided by Maharashtra Electricity Regulatory Commission. So clearly they say the discussion will happen in the next cabinet meet on the issue of power tariff reduction in Mumbai, but at this point of time Mumbai consumers will have to wait. But this also comes with a cost to the exchequer, with Maharashtra government now will have to shell out 600 crore rupees per month for this 20% tariff reduction, which means clearly close to 7,000 crores will have to be shelled out for this particular subsidy. So clearly, as we are getting into the election mode, the populism of government is at the forefront and the economics is clearly taking a backseat. And of course, as everyone expected and everyone feels that the ARP effect certainly is having its ripple effects across state governments in the country, this time being Maharashtra government.
Vijay, thanks for getting us the details there. And so as we head into elections in later this year, is this pressure of competitive populism going to be there, and is that going to impact policy making across the centre and states as well? To take that debate forward, joining us on the show this evening are two very special guests from corporate India: Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, Chairman and Managing Director at Biocon, and Harsh Mariwala, Chairman and Managing Director at Marico, joins in live from Mumbai as well. Mr. Mariwala, I want to start off with you. We've seen the Maharashtra government today cut power tariffs in response to what we saw in Delhi. Given the impending polls and the impact that we've seen of the Aam Aadmi Party, will the pressure of competitive populism affect policy making?
Yeah, I would agree with that, because I think it's futile giving doles. We have seen that those parties which gave doles in Rajasthan, they lost the elections. And I think clearly the people of the country want something which is growth oriented, growing the economy and providing them jobs and providing them self-respect, you know. I think that's the clear need, rather than giving them freebies like free computers or free whatever food or free or less or free whatever electricity or lesser cost electricity, you know. Because if you start giving free things, then you know you'll not get money to actually pursue reforms, and then you're on top of that you have a huge fiscal deficit issue. So you know these are very populist measures which will not lead you anywhere in terms of economic growth.
Okay, you're calling them populist measures, but you know, Ms. Shaw, is it safe to presume that increasingly going forward, it's going to be a battle between development and populism, whether we like it or not? Just, you know, the Maharashtra government today slashing power tariffs, taking a cue from the Aam Aadmi Party. So I suppose it's going to be about competitive populism, isn't it?
Yes, I think there is a whole issue about inflation, which I think he also referred to. And I think it is about how do you tell people that dole is not going to get them to a sustainable economic level of growth, and that they have to focus on, you know, growth opportunities that are based on real jobs and that are based on tackling inflation in a much bigger way. So I think, yes, you're right. I mean, I think the BJP does have a challenge in terms of how do they communicate their very powerful growth story to, you know, competing forces that are talking about populism and dole. So I have no answers to that, because I think it depends on what the Aam Aadmi relates to. You know, I'm not, and I think this is something which everyone has to, you know, understand in a very enlightened way.
Mr. Mariwala, you know, just yesterday we saw the BJP's Narendra Modi articulate an alternate model, which is of course being called the Development Plus model. Does corporate India find that far more appealing?
I would say that more than governance is important, but growth is the most important thing for the economy. You know, I think ultimately it has to lead to a higher GDP growth rate, and whatever is required to pursue that higher GDP growth rate is essential for any new government to come into power.
Mr. Shaw, but if you look at the BJP, even though Mr. Narendra Modi seems to be making this whole development pitch, they've also endorsed populist measures. They've also endorsed the food security bill. Even at state level, they're giving a lot of food subsidies. So do you broadly see political parties in India returning to a left-of-center economic ideology?
I think we have got ourselves into this situation where this rhetoric of inclusive economic development hasn't really been addressed and delivered on in the proper way. And therefore, you are now seeing a sleuth of populist kind of measures being announced by all parties. So I think, you should have a balance of, subsidies and populist measures, but with very robust and pragmatic economic reforms that will deliver strong growth. I think the common man may not really relate to this, may not understand this, but if anyone can do the messaging right, then it will help the country.
Mr. Mariwala, would you agree that increasingly there seems to be a lack of political consensus on key economic reforms as well? Take the case of FDI and multi-brand retail. You welcomed this when the Congress moved on this policy after a lot of dithering, but both the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party are now playing spoil sport. What happens to the reform process?
I think that kind of, shall I say, difference of opinion amongst parties will continue, I think we need to find out a way to move forward. There are many areas which can move forward without political parties' cooperation. You have a whole list of administrative reforms, judicial reforms, where you don't need to take the other political parties in with you, So there will be certain contentious issues like FDI and retail, but these are a few of the issues, and I think this is but natural that some degree of opposition will occur in a democracy like ours. So I am not as worried. I believe that there is huge potential to pursue reforms in many other areas where we do not require consensus.
Mr. Shaw, we'll let you have the last word. How do you believe these developments are going to change the perception about India when it comes to, investors? Could the populism drive perhaps send out a negative signal?
Well, it is very clear that everyone is waiting for election 2014 to be over, because we do need to understand what the political landscape is going to look like post the elections. I mean, if it's going to be another hung parliament, well, it's going to be a very challenging time ahead. So I think people do want a clear verdict in favor of a political system that's stable, and hopefully it is a political system that will deliver strong economic growth.
Hopefully it's a political system that will deliver strong economic growth. That's what everybody wants. Kiran, Mazumdar-Shaw, Harsh Mariwala, thank you so much for taking time out and joining us for that debate right here on Business Tonight. That's the corporate view on all that's happening on the political front. But plenty of news on the political front in Delhi today.